Hey everyone, this is Alan over at Cobblers Plus in Denver. Today we're going to be working on this pair of beautiful Chanel boots. We're going to be replacing the heels on them as well as the protective sole. Now someone else has done the work on it in the past. Not exactly the best of work, unfortunately, just because they put this protective sole on a little too far back. Usually to make it look very nice and everything should be put up a little bit higher as well. And then the heels, they're still the original factory ones. Unfortunately, they're plastic, so they don't really hold up well. Afterwards, we're gonna clean these up, and you can see that the heel's beaten up a little bit. It's got some gunk on there. We're gonna need to clean that up, and let's go ahead and get started now. I've got my first one here. Just remove this tag so it's not in my way. Okay. Now you can see right there it kind of came apart. We'll go ahead and glue that up once we sand everything out here. And of course we're going to sand up the heel, fix up some of this. Let me grab a little bit of glue here. And the heel wraps, they always have a tendency to like to peel up just a little bit. And it's closed up. So heel wraps usually have to be fixed up a lot of times, and when I say heel wrap, you saw the white parts on here. Most ladies' heels, they are plastic actually underneath here like that, and it's most of the shoes out there, especially when you get a higher heel like that. And then you have this wrap here that you can see that's folded over, that just goes right over it and covers it, makes it look nice and beautiful. But unfortunately it gets beaten up sometimes it just comes unglued, and it's something that's included usually with the heel replacements when we do that, to fix that up a little bit. Now if it's very damaged, we'd have to remove this heel base here, remove the heel wrap, and then rewrap it with a new piece of material. So, you know, luckily we don't have to do that with this pair. Otherwise it does get a lot more costly to do, just because it's a much longer process and very time consuming to do so. Grab a rag here. So I wipe the glue off onto my hands so that I don't get any on the uppers of the shoe, or sorry, boot. Keep wanting to say shoe. And we don't want that. Now she has worn down her heels at an angle a little too far here, and a lot of times it varies. You know, sometimes we'll put a little wedge in here to build it up nicely, or possibly something else, certain type of filler. In her case, we're actually going to be sanding it down just a little bit more and putting on a thicker piece of rubber to accommodate the amount that we sanded out, because it's not much that she really wore it down. It's just enough where she's missing some of the material, and I had mentioned it to her, so we decided to go for a thicker rubber cap on there. Definitely will last a bit longer with something thicker. So I'll go ahead and do the same thing to the other one, and then I'm going to take it over to our machine, sand everything out. You can see that line right there. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to try to follow what they had left behind here, but it doesn't seem like they really sanded out all that much, so I might be able to possibly fix it up so that it looks a lot nicer, and move that protective sole up a little bit higher and fix up this area after. This area here doesn't really get much wear, but it is more noticeable from the side sometimes when you're standing there, especially when you have, say, a pair of Louboutin shoes with the red sole. It's definitely very noticeable. So I'm going to see what I can do about fixing that up. I'll do that on the sander and glue everything up, and I'll meet you guys back here in a little bit when we're going to start when we're going to start applying the sole onto here, as well as the heels too. So we'll see you guys back in a little bit. Alright, so I'm back here again. So we decided to pull up these leather soles here actually before sanding out anything on it, just because it looked like it was coming apart more than we'd really wanted to usually, and might as well get it taken care of right the first time. Usually this does cost a little bit extra, but you know, on a pair of shoes like this, you know, we're not going to be charging extra. If we come across it, we're going to fix it. You know, we'll do that for just about any other shoe too. If something comes up, we're going to try to take care of it right for you the first time, you know, unless it's really bad damage where we have no other choice but to contact you and let you know, hey, unfortunately it turns out this and this happened, and turns out that it may be a little bit more, and just kind of try to work with you on that a bit. Now at this point I'm going to also just take our pen and mark it where we're going to be doing our protective sole. Like I said, I don't want to go down as far as whoever did them before. You can see my marking there, and that's where they kind of started the sanding, and I'm going to make sure to try to even everything out so that it's as flush as possible and looks a lot nicer than what's going on here. Alright, and I'll do the other one. Now this one looks crooked, like, jeez. I'll show you in just a second. Sometimes some people just don't pay attention to these small details. I mean, it's nothing too much that'll damage the functionality of it or the durability, but it's more aesthetics, and it's still just not okay. You can see my line there. I usually try to line it up with this heel base as much as possible, but you can see theirs goes down at an angle quite a bit, so I'm gonna try to get that taken care of. Alright, so now I'll go ahead and sand everything out, and we'll see you back here in a little bit when it's time to get everything put together. Alright, we'll see ya. Alright, so we're back here again. Everything's all glued up and dried, so we're just gonna lay this out just a little bit. There we go. Usually I try to run through with the hammer at this point, but we did glue both sides of this sole, so I'm not gonna hammer it quite yet. Got my protective soles here in the oven. It helps make this just a little more flexible and stretch better as well. I'll use the back end of the hammer here to push down right here where the vamp is, just to make sure that it lines in there nicely. Okay, now we're gonna take this over to our press, and I'll show you guys what it does there. So we're over here at our press. We've got a few different types of lasts and attachments. This is a larger one that's flatter, and then on here we've got the one for the right foot that's designed kind of like that there. It's got a little bit more of a curve there for the heel, and it's smaller. So usually when we do that, we do a section at a time. I got my little pad here. So I've got these pads made up. They're kind of like a wedge like that, and I'm able to control a little bit better where the pressure is distributed a little more or less. So right now we're pressing the back area, so from about the ball of the foot here back, in other words. We're going to allow that to sit there for just a minute, and the next one we're going to do is flip this pad around, and then we're going to concentrate more on the toe. But I'm going to let this sit here for just a couple of minutes while I go ahead and get the other one ready. And basically that's it for the adhesion process on it. So afterwards, once Once everything is cooled off, the adhesive has basically done its curing process for the portion of it where it's going to now be workable. So it's going to cure for just about 5 to 10 minutes so that we're able to continue working on it, trimming it out, doing the edges, all that kind of stuff. But as far as wearable curing, that takes a full 24 hours for it to completely activate to the full 100% cure step or stages, so that you can basically wear them. But we just need about 5 to 10 minutes on it to cure and cool off, and basically we can trim it out. But I'm going to allow it a little bit longer because we still have to attach the heel caps on it as well. So I'll let this sit for a little while, and once we're ready to stick the heel caps on, I'll meet you back over here in a few. Alright, so we're back over here again. We've allowed everything to dry and cure for a little while. Now we've got to cut off the axis here. Got our blade here. And we're just cutting off as close as we can to the original sole without actually cutting into that sole. And afterwards we're going to go through on our trimmer and even everything out a bit closer. There we go, see, just perfect little loop all around. Nice and close there. And now also we have to attach the heel caps, and we've got some already pre-cut. These come out of larger sheets usually, actually, and we cut out a piece as close as possible. And the adhesion process is a little bit different with these. It's an adhesive that's activated under pressure, kind of like you would have with super glue, very similar, but not quite the same. It's formulated specifically for this here. And we'll just cut off the edges also. I don't really need to show you guys all too much with the press again how we're going to be doing these, but it's not too complicating. So we'll go ahead and get it all taken care of, and then once it's time, I'll meet you over by the sander where we have our trimmer attached that is specifically designed to trim out more delicate things like this, like protective soles and heels, without damaging that upper at all. So we'll see you back in just a little bit. Alright everyone, we're back here again. We've allowed the boots here to cure and everything on these Chanels. Now we're over here at our sander to get everything trimmed up. As you can see, that heel is kind of sticking out, as well as the sole needs to be finished out. We've got a little attachment here for a trimmer. It's actually a blade, really a rounded blade. It's not very sharp exactly, but because of when it spins, it allows us to trim everything down carefully. And then afterwards, again, because whoever did these before, they kind of left this mark here, so we had to work a little bit differently at it. We're going to go to our sanding belt here, and then up top here I have what's called a numcake pad to really give us that finished look, and it also helps finish some of the corners out that may be hard to reach with the trimmer or the sanding belt. But we're going to go ahead and get started then on this and get going. So I had to move the camera over for you to be able to see the numcake at work here. But anyways, as you can tell, I had to sand everything out just a little bit more because, again, the old protective sole was down just a little too far, so I had to sand out the old glues and try to smooth and even everything out just a little bit better. Of course, we're going to put a better finish on that, and then touched up the heels to make sure those are all smooth. The edges here, we do like to bevel our protective soles inward just slightly so that one, it ends up protecting that protective sole a little longer so you don't catch a corner and peel it on accident somehow, and two, it does look a little bit nicer that way too. But try to get that out of the way, but you can see that one there, it's still a little rough around the edges, a little wide there, and then that one looks a little bit nicer around. And of course we're going to put the edging and everything on it, so I'll go ahead and finish out this one off camera so I'm not wasting your time too much longer with it, and we'll meet you back over in just a little bit. Alright, so we're back here again. We got, of course, everything sanded out, blew off all the dust, went through with what's called a little crepe bar like that there. It's a natural crepe material to kind of clean off any potential glue that may be anywhere kind of getting in the way. And now at this point we're going to be cleaning up the suede before we put on any kind of finishers or anything like that. We've got a solution mixed up in this bucket here. We use quite a bit of it, so we got to make sure we got a good amount. And soft bristle nylon brush. I'm just going to dip in. Now this is a light cleaner. It's mainly vinegar based and it has a few other mixtures in there too. So there are no strong solvents to deactivate any potential glues either. But we're just going to quite literally just scrub everything. Of course, because it's wet, it's gonna darken up that upper, but once it's dry, it'll go back to the original color. And there are other things that you can also get for suede cleaning, what's called a dry clean on suede. Alright, so I had to grab one really quick for you, but this is what's called a suede eraser here. It looks like a regular eraser, but it's formulated with specific fibers in here to just go through and quite literally just erase dry spots that may be on the surface as well. Now another option is, and this is very important if you have suede or nubuck, that I highly recommend you have a nylon brush. Just to kind of brush it up, when you get back home after a night out or whatever you may have done or wore them. Suede brush, just to go through and brush everything off, just old dust, whatever it may be, definitely extends the upper on these significantly. The suede eraser is going to be your step up, of course, where you clean a more stubborn spot basically, but in this case, because we're doing a full cleaning, we're not using a suede eraser necessarily. And then we use a softer bristled nylon brush than what these are. A little bit of a harder bristle definitely helps a bit more when you're doing the dry cleaning on it, but a full wet cleaning like this, like we're doing right now, softer bristles definitely come in handy more often. There we go. Now we're just going to allow these to dry here in front of the fan for a little while, and we'll be back over to continue on, so we'll see you in a bit. Alright, so I left these overnight to dry just because, of course, we really got them nice and wet. But at this point I'm going to go ahead and take my nylon brush again, the soft bristle, and just kind of go through and brush it up again. And it's very important to have a nylon brush like this, because before you leave the house, it's a good idea to buff things up a little. And at the end of the day, when you get back home and take your boots or shoes off when they're a suede or nubuck, to kind of bring back some of the nap as well. It's just basic maintenance. But at this point, we'll go ahead and do the edging on it now, and also touch up this bottom area, and I'll see you back here in a little bit after I put on the varnish on it. So we'll see you in a few. Alright, so I've gone through and buffed up the edges there with the edge dressing everywhere. The heel a little bit too, touched that up as well, and of course fixed up that bottom area there that we tried evening out. Of course, I mean, it's not 100% perfect. It's kind of a shame whoever did these in the past, they they didn't exactly do what should be done with a pair of shoes like that. Also, I touched up the uppers just a little bit with a suede renew. Basically, it helps kind of restore a little bit of the pigment, at least, instead of having that kind of blotchy look, because after cleaning it, sometimes, you know, you have that discoloration appear, and it's mainly, of course, because they discolored over time, and then when you get dirt and debris on there, it covers up that discoloration as well. So I touched it up a little bit with that, and of course waterproofed them too. Waterproofers for suede, I tend to recommend things that are a little more on the water-based side, no silicones, nothing with polymer in it. So water-based one, the one that we used, let me grab it, is from Cadillac, and it's not too strong, so it's of course something you're gonna have to reapply probably once every 2 to 3 months. You know, if you don't wear them often at all, maybe even 5 or 6 months. But if you end up wearing them in a really, you know, wet environment or something that may potentially damage them, definitely want to make sure you maintain that waterproofing. And again, a suede brush, if you've got a suede brush like this here, the ones that we sell, this is I don't use this one at all for suede, but this is a suede brush here. It's a nylon one as well, just to kind of brush them up, get any dirt, dust, or debris off of there, bring back some of the nap. That regular maintenance when you come home after wearing these, take off your boots or shoes that are suede, just buff them up gently. You don't really need to scrub hard. If it's a spot that you have on there that may involve some intense scrubbing, you may have to use something else, such as getting them fully cleaned, or even a suede bar. But anyways, if you have a suede bar like that, that'll help with some stubborn spots. It's like an eraser pretty much, but it's got certain materials mixed into it and blended to help scrub it just a little bit. And these two, basically, this would be your dry clean version for your suede goods. Now, of course, the wet version, you know, there's your Lincoln Easy Cleaner, Angelus Easy Cleaner, such as this here, you know, just to clean it. Vinegar, you know, will help a little bit. White vinegar if you have white stains from salt, but otherwise desalter is a lot more potent than just regular white vinegar as well. And upkeep on that waterproof always. If you have a waterproofer already that you have and you're not sure, you know, if it's going to be safe for your suedes, read the labels. You know, if it does say safe on suede, repels, well, like this one says, all season protection for leather, suede, and nubuck. If it doesn't have suede on there, or, you know, on the back label, on the warning labels, it says don't use on suede or nubuck, definitely that's the first indication not to use that on there. If it says that it can be used on that, you may possibly be able to use it, but again, as I said, silicone-based and silicone-based and polymer-based, they're much stronger. I mean, you could use them on suede or nubuck, but if it's a work boot, for example, something a little more delicate like these nice Chanels here, I wouldn't do it. You won't be able to do much afterwards if, say, some form of damage occurs to the upper, because that silicone or polymer takes a lot more to clean it off in order to be able to start finally working on that leather. So again, just keep an eye out for that. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to always stop by our shop if you're local here, or if you're not local, send us a message, give us a call as well. You know, we'd be more than happy to help with whatever you may need. But anyways, that's the whole process there of doing the rubber Vibram protective soles, the heels on the pair of Chanels, as well as, of course, we re-glued the original leather sole all around because it started coming apart quite a bit. And then afterwards we treated the upper, cleaning it and helping a little bit of the restoration on it too. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. Again, like I said, if you're local here in the Denver area, feel free to stop on by, drop off whatever repairs you may have as well. If you're not local and you'd like us to work on any of your shoes, boots, belts, jackets, or any other leather goods, you're more than welcome to ship them into us. Just go to our website, CobblersPlusCO, and under the ship and orders tab, just follow the instructions, print out the PDF file, fill it out with all your contact information, place it in the box with whatever items you need worked on, send them over to us, and we'll give you a call within the first day or two after receiving them, talk over your options, prices, you know, what kind of things we may recommend as well, and after they're repaired, of course, ship them on back to you. So it's easy as that for you if you don't have a local cobbler or somebody, you know, that you're not comfortable with possibly as well. Otherwise, if you want to get at least some price estimates, ideally always it's best for us to see it in person. If you really want us to try to go over the prices before you ship them out, please send us pictures to our email address. It's listed on our website, procobblers@gmail.com. Send over the pictures. More pictures are better always, not just one or two. If you're, you know, sending us a picture of the top of the shoe like this and you're saying I need heels repaired, sometimes I've gotten pictures like that, of course, and I don't know what size that heel is. I can't really give a ballpark estimate on that or even start going from there. But anyways, if you've enjoyed this video, I hope you really liked it. If you like to see more of things that we do as well here at our shop, the type of work we do, product recommendations, testings as well, you know, working on beautiful shoes like these Chanel's here, please subscribe, hit that notification bell icon so that you're notified whenever we make a new video and release it. And yeah, so we'll just see you next time. Thanks.